Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You know, when you think about it, Adam and Eve had a very ideal marriage. I'll tell you why. He didn't have to hear about all the men she could have married, and she didn't have to hear about the way his mother cooked. Perfect. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot. Call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Monday. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Get your boat ready. We're going to have to use it. It looks like it's getting pretty wet out there. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, you go right ahead, my dear, and give us the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You
have a very nice voice for our pledge. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right, thank you. That's a nice lady right there. I really appreciate her. My goodness, it's time for the weather on a Monday. And, of course, it's Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. My goodness sakes, carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. And don't forget, they've got all the carpet from Mohawk. Every kind that you need, you stop in and check it out today at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful, wonderful people at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Like I said, look for the blue door. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for the very first week in November, and, well, it's going to be a wet one. Rain showers for today. It's going to be a little bit on the breezy side. High of 44. Tonight, expect a low of 35. Now, tomorrow, just be careful out there, especially if you're on the roadways. Rain and snow showers mixed create very, very slick conditions. High of 37 with an overnight low of 28. Overcast for Wednesday. High of 38 with an overnight low of 24. Then for Thursday, we might be able to see some sunshine with a high of 43. Yesterday's high was 46, and tonight's sunset's going to be at 5:26. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
A little bit wet. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And Cheney Flooring and Home Design bringing you the weather this morning, as they do every day at this time. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. We have got so much on our plate here this morning, so your calls are a very integral part of our program. Give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have a thank you that I want to acknowledge, and it's from the Zanino family, and this is so nice. I mean, there are some really, really nice people out there that thank people for what they do. And the funeral service for Aldo Zanino was held this past weekend, and the Minnecasia Veterans Organization did their military tribute, and on behalf of the Zanino family, they just said it was absolutely cherished and very much appreciated. So thank you very much to the Mini-Cassia veterans. They were outstanding, and I know the Zanino family really appreciates what you did and how you did it. Thank you very much. All right, now let's take November. 25 days till Thanksgiving. Holy smokes, and tomorrow's election day. Oh, we got a lot to talk about. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners. They're located at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, and they can clean anything. Oh, you put that tablecloth from Thanksgiving away and never had it cleaned? Oh, my. Oh, you've still got the last year's gravy stains and the cranberry stains and the dressing stain. Well, you better get that cleaned in immediately at Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And maybe there's other things you need to get cleaned because the holidays are fast approaching. That's right. Daryl Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And Kevin and Cindy, absolutely the best at Daryl's Cleaners. You stop in and see them today. Another group of people that I really am high on, and that's, of course, SafeLink Internet. And they are Idaho's #1 choice for wireless Internet, 18 years and counting. Caller, I'll be right there. No contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. They can help you. Boy, they've been a wealth of help for our office operation, and we certainly appreciate them. SafeLink Internet. Call today, 677-8000. Really good folks. Caller, thank you. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, I thought of a bumper sticker slogan, and maybe somebody else has already thought of it, but I like it, and it is Hillary Clinton. Liar, liar, pantsuits on fire.
Liar, liar, pantsuits on fire. That's cute. I like that. As a matter of fact, I think I know of a cartoon that we could put with that and make a nice bumper sticker out of it. But
well, you can do what you want with it, but you can even use your idea if you like. But I just thought it was cute. I don't know if somebody else has already thought of it, but.
Well, it's not only...
watching her on TV, and she just lies every damn time she gets a chance.
I am fed up with Hillary Clinton and the excusing of what she does and what she says or what she doesn't say by the liberal media. I am totally in agreement with you. And call me after the program, and we'll see what we can do to generate some of those bumper stickers. I like that, Keith. Thank you very much. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Thank you. That's a good idea. I like that. Hey, tomorrow's election day, and Mike Brown, mayor of Rupert, wants to get reelected as mayor of Rupert. That's right. Don't forget, he's committed to the citizens of Rupert and wants your vote tomorrow. Don't forget, 23 years a business owner in the area, 8 years on the Rupert Police Reserves, 4 years as mayor, and wants your vote again. Mike Brown, mayor of Rupert, committed to the citizens of Rupert, paid for by the committee to elect Mike Brown. Max Vaughn, treasurer. Good Max. Good old Max. I'll tell you, there's a nice guy right there. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to say this and get it out of the way because I know there's people out there that are listening wondering if I'll acknowledge it. Yes. Green Bay got beat last night in Denver. They played like... Never mind, I can't say that on the air. But they weren't very good last night, to say the least, and Denver Broncos deserved to win the game. They won 29-10. That hurts. That really hurts. And congratulations also in 12 innings to the Kansas City Royals, winning the World Series last night, 7-2 in 12 innings over the New York Mets. And it's the first time in 30 years that the Kansas City Royals have been world champions. Congratulations. By the way, don't forget, too, our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes, absolutely. They have got all your heating and electrical needs, and they're just waiting right now to serve you. All you have to do is just give them a call at 678-0459, and they can have your order waiting for you on the counter, or stop in. They've got all the furnace filters. I know with these cooler temperatures, Ooh, that linoleum's a little chilly in the morning. Well, make sure that your house is being heated efficiently by your furnace. Take care of your furnace. Be kind to it. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call 678-0459. And they're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, where they promote and provide warm winters and cool summers. Nice people. Oh, and Denny's Restaurant, it's time to announce the winner of the last Friday night Denny's High School Game of the Week for a free Grand Slam breakfast. She did it again. Dorothy Silcock, you were the winner. Holy buckets, that lady's on a roll. Dorothy Silcock was the winner, closest to the final score and the winning team. Hold on, I'm going to cough. All done. Thank you. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 Overland in Burley and their new location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. The best of breakfast, lunch, and dinners. Oh, the menu items are fantabulous. You're going to love it at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and congratulations to Dorothy. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A couple of news notes here this morning. Actor, lawyer, real-life senator, and a real-life past presidential candidate, Fred Thompson. He was one of my favorite actors on television series and in the movies because every part he played, he was so natural, and it looked like they were just absolutely videotaping for the movie somebody that actually did that job. Fred Thompson died from lymphoma cancer, and I understand he was 73 years of age. He was very believable and very likable. So our condolences to the family for a person that passes away, Fred Thompson, but believe me, he had a wonderful life and shared with a lot of people. Thank you very much. Would somebody please tell me why Obama is so heck bent on turning loose over 6,000 bad guys that were arrested for being bad guys, were arrested for promoting badness in our society? He's going to let them out of prison. With a stroke of the pen. With a stroke of the pen, they're back into society, they're back on the streets, and you know they're not going to be applying for jobs as workers at Walmart, let me tell you that. They're going to be out there with their devious schemes and very devilish ways back on the streets again. 6,000 inmates released back into society. And I just don't understand why. Somebody call me and give me a reason. Give me a reason as to why you would let bad people out of the jails before their sentence is up. Oh, you're free. Go ahead. Wreak more havoc in the drug community, etc. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I read something in the paper the other day that just got my blood boiling. And I want to pass this along to you. You know that I think that it's great that various people run for political office, and I encourage whether they're Republican or Democrat to run for office. But in this case, I'm going to draw a line in the sand, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. Caller, would you bear with me just 30 seconds? I'll be right there with you, I promise. I want to remind everybody about Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Zach and the rest of the crew, they've got all kinds of vinyl over there. My goodness, it's a great time to stop in and check out all the Western windows. Oh boy, save on your heating bills. And they can handle all your lumber needs, everything at Minnecasia Sales. Wonderful people, Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. And believe me, they do bring you on Tuesdays the sponsorship of Dr. History. Thank you, Minnecasia Sales. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi, Helen.
In my opinion, Zeb, the reason that he's letting all of these people go and out of Guantanamo, hey, he's got to get his army from someplace.
I don't know what to think. The moving, possibly, of the prisoners from Guantanamo Bay back here in the United States into federal prisons, and the just releasing of all the bad guys connected to the drug industry, over 6,000 of them on the streets. Helen, I just don't understand what's going on. I shake my head every day at what this lack of leadership has done to America. How
else is he going to build up an army?
Oh, I can't answer that question.
The good people of the United States isn't going to back him.
You know,
got to have all of the crud if there is.
And okay, Helen, okay, but now answer this. How could anybody in their right mind, underline the words right mind, even think or consider advocating a likeness to the Obama administration, that being Hillary Clinton? What's going on there?
Well, really and truly, as I look at it, I see this Satan's last stand, and he's using everything and everybody that he can.
You know something? Helen, I've known you for a long time, and we joke and we jest with each other, but I think that was one of the most articulate statements you've ever made, because I agree and I see the same thing. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
God bless you. Thanks. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to acknowledge our dear friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Hello, Nick. Hello, everybody. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists over there. Yep, all the exercises, all the sports medicine, and they've got the only hydrotherapy pool in the area. I've used it. It is exceptional and really helps you get back to being you. Call for an appointment today. I've got to set things up this week, as a matter of fact. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. I just come up with a solution to your 6,000 people. Why don't they use a parole board like they've done for the last 200 years? And they'll only be letting the lesser of the bad guys out.
I'm not going to speculate, Keith, because I don't understand this situation. I've got to read into it more, but letting go 6,000 inmates that have been up on the heinous crimes of drug trafficking, etc., I don't understand this, but then on the other hand, I don't understand why we're looking at such a milquetoast society where bad is almost promoted as good and good is promoted as evil. I don't understand what's going on, and I don't think anybody can accept the Bible and God's Word.
I think you can agree with me. You believe in giving people a second chance. But sometimes that comes back to bite you.
Well, no, I believe in second chances. Wait a minute. Let me define that just a little bit.
Okay.
I believe in second chances, but depending upon what they have done for their first lost opportunity. I mean, if they're a murderer, if they're a drug trafficker, which I consider that to be almost like being a murderer, they need to pay their sentence to society and not just be released on a good old boy, crackers and milk type thing. I don't believe in second chances that way.
Well, what do you think about somebody that's had like 5 DUIs and they finally send them to prison?
Well,
in prison, the state has to take care of their families and do all these things there. That's punishing us instead of punishing them.
Well, okay, but Keith, wait a minute. I look at that situation, just like you said, I think the courts have got to discern, A, how can we control this life? Is it going to be cost effective to send them to jail at $50,000, $60,000 a year? No, it's not. But a portion of that money that has to be spent to incarcerate them could be used to make sure that they, A, have a job, B, they pay back their debt to society, and they're not going to put their family on the welfare rolls. There's got to be a way to watch them, observe them, and make them toe the line instead of sending them to prison at our cost.
That's what we call parole or probation. And only about half of the people observe that. They'll not follow the rules, let's say.
But as far as but going back to what you said about second chances, no. I mean, if they're child molesters, if they're rapists, if they're drug dealers that have absolutely ruined the lives of many, no. In that case, if they're sentenced for something, they serve out the entire sentence to pay back their debt to society. I don't believe in giving second chances with just a slap on the wrist.
Well, the one thing that I think is most injustice is this General Petraeus. Look what they did to him, and look what they're doing to Hillary.
They're not doing anything to Hillary.
There's a balance that's way out of whack.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's a good analogy, too. Keith, God bless you, man. Thanks much for the call. Appreciate it.
You bet. Bye.
Yeah, they haven't done a thing to Hillary, and it's just the arrogance and the ego-centered way that the Democrats are. I just got to say this, and I'm going to put it out in front of you this morning, that I was just absolutely shocked when I read the paper the other day on Saturday and found out that Deborah Silvers with the Democratic Party is going to run against our dear friend Lee Hyder for that Senate seat. And here is a quote that she had in the paper the other day. She said, the area's elected officials should take a stand against the opponents of the College of Southern Idaho Refugee Center. Silver organized a group supporting the Refugee Center, and her quote was this: we need our leaders to stand up and say, we welcome these people to our community, and they've been here for 30 years, and they're not going to tolerate this. Let me tell you something, Deborah. The same day, Saturday, that you came out with this outrageous, uneducated quote, the government and the FBI came out and said that they are absolutely afraid that ISIS has been recruiting Syrian Muslim refugees that are coming to America. And, oh gee, some coming here. We have every right to question what's going on at the refugee center. We have every right to find out more information, which is limited. We have every right to find out about the vetting process. We have every right to be concerned about a changing of our culture and the diversity of bringing theirs in. And for her to say that we need to stand up and stop this, I wouldn't vote for her if she were the only person on a ballot for any measure or any office. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call this morning, I just am absolutely outraged that people that voice an opinion, people that voice outrage over something that is not smelling right, tasting right, or looking right, they're demeaned by the left. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the Dr. Christine Pickup. And I really urge you to have your hearing checked. Now, if you have high blood pressure and you're on medication for high blood pressure, this might be affecting your hearing. All of these things need to be checked out. So if you're noticing some hearing loss, why don't you please get a hold of her today? Call her at 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and make an appointment for a hearing screening today. Oh my, it is time for the Sophie's Cinnamon Roll giveaway. And I want you to this morning, I think I'm going to ask a real easy one. A real easy one. Name two actors. This is really an easy question. Just name two actors that were a part of the Magnificent Seven Western movie. Two actors that played in the Magnificent Seven. All you have to do is 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, and you can win a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox. And they're located located at 530 East Street in Rupert. First-time winners only, and give me a call. And then once you're a winner, then you can call over at 436-0354, and you can tell them when you're going to be in to get those delicious cinnamon rolls, okay? Name 2 actors that were in the movie The Magnificent Seven. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Seth. Charles Bronson and Steve McQueen. Oh, are you a bruiser?
Pardon me? Hello?
You know the name of 2 actors in that movie?
Yeah, 2 actors in that movie. Have you ever won before?
I have never won before, Seth.
Well, you have now.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, don't go away. I need your name. Go ahead and give us your name.
Juan.
Well, give me your full name.
Juan Castro.
Okay, Juan, you are the winner of the cinnamon rolls. You call over and tell them when you can pick them up, okay?
Thank you, sir.
God bless you, sir.
God bless.
Thank you very much. Yep, Steve McQueen. You know, it's interesting. It really was interesting on the answer. I thought that everybody would say, honestly, I did. When I was thinking about this question earlier this morning, I thought that 99% of the people would say Yul Brynner and possibly Steve McQueen. But to say Charles Bronson and Steve McQueen, that's an interesting answer. And there were other actors of renown that were in that movie, but that's an excellent answer, and it's true. Charles Bronson and Steve McQueen were in The Magnificent Seven. So congratulations on the cinnamon rolls. There you go. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. You be sure and give them a call or stop in today. Let me see what else have we got here. I wish that somebody would tell me, and I've got calls into Mike Crapo's office and also Rish's office, and I want some answers. I want to know why we had to implement this absolutely dumb, asinine budget deal and basically give Obama a blank check for the next 2 years. He can spend like crazy and inflate our financial mess in this country, which he's going to. And he has stated he's going to use a lot of our money for the ridiculous, absolutely pathetic waste of time on climate change. Over the weekend, I had an opportunity to listen to some very, very interesting scientists and climatologists. And they are shaking their heads as to basically we can't change anything. What we can do is so minuscule that it doesn't even count on the do something scale. And for Obama and others to stand there and lie to us the same way Al Gore did years ago, it's ridiculous, and it's going to put us on the path to ruin financially, much worse than where we are now. Watch out for higher gas prices. Watch out for everything and anything connected to carbon. Watch out what Obama is going to spend your money on. Watch out. If you think things have been bad, Katie, bar the door. You, according to the old saying, you ain't seen nothing yet. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you a little bit. There is a lady that's going to be on my program a little bit later on this morning. And her name, of course, is Carrie Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom. And I don't want you to miss the 9:30 segment. I'm telling you, folks, if you've listened to this program before, I absolutely think you're going to find this imperative listening at 9:30 this morning, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations: Twin Falls on Addison Avenue West, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All your equipment needs. And when I say that, I'm not kidding. I mean, man, they've got equipment. I don't know who is in charge of figuring out all the parking for the equipment, but they did a heck of a good job. They've got all the great big Doosan loaders and all the Bobcat skid steer loaders and all the Coyote tractors, and woo, what an array of equipment to get the job done right for you. Please stop in and see them today. That's Barry Equipment and Rental in Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, how soon we forget? It wasn't that many years ago. It was save the rainforest. We need the rainforest because they produce oxygen. And now they're going, oh, we have too much CO2. We've got to cut down on the CO2. Duh. That's what plants live on, and they let off oxygen, which is what we live on.
Yeah, this is the part that I don't understand. How America, and ma'am, please bear with me on this and don't get mad at me, but you know it's true. How can America be so forgetful and stupid of their simple science and biology classes in high school and college? Don't they remember about what is contributing to our lifestyle and contributing to our health through CO2? And let me ask you another question, too, quickly. Would you rather live in a sub-zero freezing temperature, possibly 8 months out of the year, with the possibility that man could change the climate and make it much cooler? Or would you much rather live in a healthier environment of warmer temperatures, better crops, better forestation, everything else? Let me give that question an answer.
Well, I would rather live so that we've kind of got the weather we've got now, and if they would just let the cycle run its course. I heard a program the other day that said that actually the plants are on a starvation diet. I can't even remember where I heard it, but it says plants are on a starvation diet right now because they're not getting enough oxygen or CO2.
What is healthy about living conditions in an Antarctica situation to where you go out of your snow hut, go over and check on the snow dogs for your sled? That is not where I want to live. These people that say, well, we're having much warmer climates and it's causing all these problems. No, it's not. Do you realize that the healthier climates are always with warmer climates, and we're not seeing anything that's man-caused? We are seeing a trend, unfortunately, naturally, going to a much cooler climate. And these people, like Obama and Al Gore, want to make it much more frigid and rigid. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because, it is that CO2. Duh.
Yeah, but let me ask you, did you hear the report that came out last week?
I've not heard one liberal say, oh, yeah, and by the way, that's what plants thrive on.
Yeah. Did you hear that report last week that I had on the air? It absolutely made me almost fall out of my chair that some of the liberal scientists are saying now that CO2 in the amounts that we have now is making people dumber.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, but then the report that I heard, and I wish I could remember where I heard it, said that the plants are actually on a starvation diet right now because there's not enough CO2 for them.
I'm so glad you called on this because you're a reign of sanity in an insane world. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day. Thank you. She's like I am. Duh. What's the matter with these people? Anyway, and when you get over to the far left and you get over to being on that side of the aisle, what happens? Did you leave your brain out in the coat check room? Hey, by the way, Russ Mallory running for re-election for the Burley City Council. Vote tomorrow for Russ Mallory. 4 years experience, proven leadership, conservative, and a lifetime resident of Burley. And wants to keep civility an important part of the Burley City Council. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Russ Mallory. Russ Mallory for Burley City Council. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, thank you. How much better we got? He start a story if you're coming up on a break.
I can barely hear you. You're on a cell phone, so I'm going to need you to hold real still.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. You asked, how can people be so dumb about our basic sciences Well, let me tell you a little story. This last spring, I turned the water down in this Christmas time, and a great big giant water bug came down, and I collected it with my first grade grandson and my third grade granddaughter, and they took it in. We looked up on the internet and learned all about them, and I said, you ought to take this to school tomorrow for kind of show and tell them a little bit about giant water bugs. And they both looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, don't you do science? My third grade granddaughter had never had science. She had had math, reading, and spelling, and that's it.
Oh, my.
I remember some of the funniest stuff I learned about science was in elementary school.
Absolutely. We're having, I got to interrupt you there, ma'am. We're having real difficulty trying to get you. Evidently, you're on a cell phone, and it's not coming through too good, but I do appreciate the point of your conversation. Call me again on a landline, and we'll talk more about this. It's very unfortunate, and it's very true, that our kids today are being misled by a liberalized science teaching course. And I am not going to point my finger at Burley or Minico or Twin Falls or Jerome, because I still think there's some common sense out here in the hinterland. But when you get into some of the larger school areas, like in the Chicagos, in the New Yorks, in the San Francisco areas, my goodness, what they're being brainwashed with will absolutely scare you to death. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, re-elect Mike Brown as Rupert City Mayor. Mike stands up and believes in our veterans and our community. Mike was instrumental in getting the flag at half-staff on the Idaho Roll Call Monument. Let's keep moving forward. Re-elect Rupert City Mayor Mike Brown as mayor. Mike cares. Paid for by Citizens George and Donna Mass. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Go.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. Don't just stop. Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, I was making sure I had you. You know, I'm so upset with the Republican Party. After the last election, we voted them in and give them the majority so that they would slow down Obama and some of the crap he's doing. And they have just sucked in to everything he wants to do. They have stopped nothing. It just makes me so mad every time I think about that it just almost makes me not want to vote. I will vote, but it just really, really upsets me with the Republican Party.
Well, yeah, but
how can they go along with this insane mania?
Yeah. Jerry, what you just said right there scared me for a moment, because I know that you, of anybody, are a red, white, and blue American, and the vote means very, very much to you. And when you said it almost makes me not want to vote, that's all the more reason I think why we should go vote. I think it's all the more reason we should get more involved and listen and learn and ask questions of these candidates. It's all the more reason that we need to let them know that they're on the hot seat, and if they don't do the job for us, we are going to throw them out.
Well, you know, it just seems like whatever we do, they seem to get their way.
Yeah.
This climate change thing to me is total insanity.
It is.
But there's almost everything Obama does is total insanity.
I agree.
I can't really see a lot he does that I feel is good for our country.
Well,
It's just, you know, it worries me. And when the other side gives him just a free hand to do what he wants to do, now he's got a budget. He can bring that thing as high as he wants to. There's no debt limit on it. So he can just spend, do. I just can't go along with their thinking on this. I just don't agree with it.
All right, Jerry, thank you very much for your call, as always. I very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. God bless you, my friend.
Wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and yours, and keep on doing what you're doing.
I will.
You're needed.
Thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. By the way,
wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
Thank you, Jerry. In adjacency and in connection with what was just being said. I got to tell you, folks, whether you believe in the National Rifle Association or not, whether you are a member or not, and I'll tell you right now emphatically, I'm proud that I am a member of the NRA, okay? But the demonization of the NRA and the denigration of the NRA with the leftist mob like Hillary and many, many more has been out to demean them and run them down and try to disassemble everything the NRA stands for. But the ads that are on TV right now, and if you haven't seen some of these ads, you need to make a concentrated effort to watch and listen to what's being said. They are the best written, they are the most straightforward, and they are the most deliberate ads on television today. And I salute the NRA for what they are doing to inform the American public. Right now, I've got to get to the weather, and the weather's brought to you by the Mad River Laser folks, Nicole and the gang over at 502 East Street in Rupert. Halloween decorations, 25 to 50% off. Hey, you can stock up on next year. And don't forget, they can now do all the printing and the picturing on blankets. It's amazing. I've got one right here in my hand. You got to get over and check it out. And all your business awards and just all kinds of different things. You need to get in there and take a look at their gift shop, all the home decor items, everything at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Now here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for the very first week in November, and, well, it's going to be a wet one. Rain showers for today, going to be a little bit on the breezy side, high of 44. Tonight, expect a low of 35. Now, tomorrow, just be careful out there, especially if you're on the roadways. Rain and snow showers mixed create very, very slick conditions. High of 37 with an overnight low of 28. Overcast for Wednesday, high of 38 with an overnight low of 24. Then for Thursday, we might be able to see some sunshine with a high of 43. Yesterday's high was 46, and tonight's sunset's going to be at 5:26. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Very well done. Thank you, Gina. And brought to you this hour by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see these really nice people today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A little bit earlier, and I will not back up on this subject. You can criticize me all you want, but I'm not going to back up. A little bit earlier, I told you to be listening at 9:30 this morning. It's very, very important with the Alliance Defending Freedom and Carrie Kupek, the Legal Communications Director. Tomorrow, on the ballot in Houston, Texas, the Houston, Texas citizens are going to be going to the polls, parents and everyone else, and they're going to be voting on whether or not to turn over what is called the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance. It is an ordinance created to give special legal protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Once again, it's called the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance, and it's been abbreviated down to the word HERO. And it is absolutely insane what this would do to our society, what this would do to our school districts. Now, the reason I want you to be listening at 9:30 to Carrie Kupek, because there are school districts now that are saying, locker rooms can be used by either sex anytime they want to. Bathrooms can be used by any sex anytime they want to. And there's nobody that can stop them. They're going to change our society and make it totally upside down and no holds barred. There will be no restrictions. And if you'll remember a couple of weeks ago in the paper, the Times News, the Twin Falls School District adopted a plan almost exactly similar to what's going to be voted on in Houston tomorrow. They said in the headline, Twin Falls Schools adopt gender ID policy. And then new policies for LGBT students ignored by most Idaho schools. This is coming. This is coming. And they will not be able to say boys can't use the girls' locker room. And they will not be able to say that girls can't go use the boys' locker room, bathrooms, etc. Is that what our society is coming to? This is absolutely threatening to those of us that believe in moral right and wrong. Those of us that believe that we should be able to raise our children with a moral balance, a moral compass. And this is absolutely destroying and putting a nail in the coffin of anything that's sane with what's left of our moral society. And I'm pointing my finger in condemnation of the Twin Falls School District. I'm pointing my finger in condemnation of anything that could be as filthy as this law is. Don't miss at 9:30 this morning what Carrie Kupek has to say about this. She's going to really open this thing up and let everybody hear just how absolutely sickening this law would be. It's again called the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance, and this is going to have major ramifications all across the United States. It would impose new and potentially ruinous liability on innocent citizens for alleged discrimination based on, not on objective traits, but on subjective and unverifiable identities. In other words, I would be open for any scrutiny and any lawsuit because of my stand for the Bible and for marriage between only a man and a woman. This thing is completely out of hand. And we all need to stand up, step up, and say no. We still have to have some type of morality left in our society. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And for the Times News to applaud this kind of thing, and they did, they put it in their Cheers and Jeers column a couple of weeks ago. They said the Twin Falls School District is one of the first districts in the state to adopt new policies aimed at protecting LGBT students, and they praised them for what they're doing and how it's going to be adopted. We are living in some very sick, perverted times. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I can't imagine why people aren't standing up. I can't imagine why people aren't standing arm to arm and saying enough is enough. We've got to try to save our society from the sick, perverted attitudes that are being permeated in our schools and our businesses. Don't forget, for all your traction tires, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got all the studded snow tires. They've got everything. They've got the tires that are pinned for studs. And let me tell you, they've got all the great tires for you for your driving safety this winter. Now, along with driving safety, you probably noticed maybe the old four-wheel wonder maybe pulls a little bit to the right or maybe pulls real hard to the left. You better get in and maybe have that front end line. Don't wreck your tires. Don't risk an accident. Get a front end alignment. And along with that, maybe you stepped on the brakes the other day and said, whoa, what a carnival ride. Well, maybe they should be stopping you. Well, they've got professionally trained technicians and premium quality parts and the best in brake service at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Center. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. You know what gets me? I sit here on the radio, and if this were 30 years ago, we'd almost laugh and giggle and tee-hee at some of the things that are coming down the pike aimed at you and I and our families and the destruction of the American family and morality, we would have laughed. But now here they are, standing on the front porch, and they're attacking your family, my family. They're attacking what's right and wrong. They're attacking the Bible. They're minimizing what God's Word is. They're minimizing morality. And they're replacing it, trying to replace it with a absolutely filthy and demonized attitude. And we sit back and we don't do anything. We don't say anything. It's almost like people are afraid to come out and voice their opinion on things today. Why? Why? I'm giving you a forum to stand up and say things. And when we get into subjects like this, it's almost like, oh boy, I better not say anything. My neighbor might hear me. I don't understand that. We have got to speak out. And we have got to speak out by going to the polls. And that's why I encourage everyone to go and vote tomorrow. Tomorrow is voting day. Maybe there's some people running for election you don't like. Well, good. Go vote for the other guy. But let your voices please be heard. Caller, quickly. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It's Earl Worthen.
Yeah, Earl, real fast. I got a minute left.
There's a majority of them out there that are doing it for a profit.
What do you mean by that? Quickly, Earl, because I've only got a minute. Go.
Yeah, what I said is there's a majority of these people out there that are getting away with this, and they're doing it for a profit.
Right, right. So what do you suggest we do, Earl, quickly?
Turn time back and go back to the 50s and start all over again.
Well, I wish that was true, because at the end of my program every day I say, and I mean it, the way things were, the way things ought to be. I agree with you. Hey, listen, call me again when I've got more time and I'm not up against the CBS News. I appreciate it, Earl. God bless you, man. I got to run. Thanks.
Right.
All right, call me back. I just wish people would call and express their opinions when I'm not right up against the news, and I value your calls. God bless you for your calls. Really appreciate it. News next from CBS. Coming up next half hour. First up, Doug Johnson. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Oh, welcome on a rainy, wet Monday out there. My goodness sakes. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, they've built the kind of company ready to give you what you deserve, and that is absolutely the best in service, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Locally owned and operated, and I know these folks and have worked with these folks for a long time. They are the best. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. The best. Hey, by the way, every morning on Zeb at the Ranch, we start the program off with the weather at 8:06, and that means it's sponsored by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All you need to make your house a home. Kitchen, construction, carpet, flooring, everything at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Really nice people. We'll have our guest on the air in just a moment. Stand by, but also don't forget our friends at Hanson Mortuary. And I believe Joel's going to be on the program with us sometime this week, as a matter of fact. They are always ready and there to be of help to you and your family. Yep, when there's a passing of a loved one, I urge you to write this number down and give them a call, 436-5636. Very, very flexible hours, very oriented towards family attention, and they will travel to rural towns and churches to help you with the arrangements, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number again, 436-5636. And I want to also remind you that Mike Brown, Mayor of Rupert, wants to continue to be the Mayor of Rupert, so he's urging you to go to the polls tomorrow and give him another term as Mayor of Rupert. Mike Brown, he committed to the citizens of Rupert and 12 years on the Rupert City Council, 4 years served as council president, wants your vote. Vote Mike Brown for mayor tomorrow, paid for by the committee to elect Mike Brown, Max Vaughn, treasurer. And now, without further ado, here we go with my dear friend in Colorado. Hello, Doug Johnson. How are you?
Well, I'm good, Zeb. I don't know if you can change it or not. I can barely hear you.
Wheels, we're going to have you maybe turn me up in his ears a little bit. How's that, Doug? Better?
A little bit better, yeah.
All right. How are you this morning, my friend?
I'm good. How about yourself, Zeb?
I am a little bit more than worried about what's going on in politics. And I really appreciated and relished reading your blogs about Ted Cruz and other issues that you write about. We're going to have to take a candidate, Doug, with a little bit of the blemishes, a little bit of the warts on the end of the nose. We're going to have to accept that they're not all perfect. Would you agree with that or not?
Well, yeah, in fact, this is what's hurt the conservative movement for many election cycles. They get in a cycle, and people believe their candidate is the best. They basically refuse to hear any negative about them. And if they don't get it their way, then they start attacking the other candidates, and in some cases, they even stay home and don't vote. And, you and I have talked about when Colorado went from a red state to a blue state, what happened was the Democrats came here and said, we are going to agree to disagree on some issues, but we're going to agree on enough issues that we can gain power. Once we have power, we'll work out the details between us. And that's how they took over Colorado and how they are successfully taking over other parts of the country. And it's a very important thing that they understood, was that we're going to have little things we'll disagree about. We'll agree to disagree. But on the big stuff, we agree enough anyway. Let's just get control of things. And this is what Republicans are going to have to do if they want to win.
You know, Doug, I said this on my program many, many times since the debate, and I'm going to stand behind my statement because I think my analogy was pretty much spot on. There were three people that stood out, I mean really stood out in the spotlight for what they did, how they said it, and what they commanded attention about, and that was, not necessarily in this order, it was Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and surprisingly, Chris Christie. Those three really stood out at the last Republican debate.
Well, they did, and I'm going to add something to that, because a lot of people were very impressed by Marco Rubio. If they were paying attention, what they should have noticed was all he did was spin things, twist things, and be deceitful. He did not answer questions. He went his way whenever he was confronted. This is what he does in interviews, too. But because he always has a quick comeback, people are very impressed, and so he's risen dramatically, and now he is becoming very rapidly the favored candidate of the establishment. They're seeing him as the replacement for Jeb, as Jeb's campaign is faltering.
Well, okay, Jeb's campaign is faltering. I was talking to some folks over the weekend that said, well, this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and all of a sudden that'll open up the door for Jeb to take the forefront. He's got the money sponsors. And I said, wait a minute. No, this man doesn't have the money sponsors that he thought he had. No, this man doesn't have the polling. He doesn't have the numbers. I think Jeb Bush is a memory. Am I wrong?
I think he's fading out. I don't think he's going to end anytime soon, because I think that, number one, he thought that this was his entitlement. Number two, that given his father's age, that this is probably the last presidential election where he would have a chance to win and show his father that they can, create history by being the first family to have three members of the family be president, and so it's important to him that way. So I think it's going to be hard for him to admit he's losing and get out. We know his super PAC has $100 million. We know some of these things, but he has lost support from other people. Other people are concerned. But the bigger concern that reflects against that is that Marco Rubio is getting a number of establishment billionaires behind him pouring money into his campaign, and that is a huge thing. And so what's really ironic is you see when you see what Jeb is doing, you see him scrambling. I think he's like he's lost. He doesn't know what to do.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the GOP in itself. There is a cartoon in this morning's paper that I think it could be redrawn a little bit, and it would also encompass the GOP. It shows a guy on safari over in Africa, and he's hunting an elephant, and he ends up shooting himself in the foot. And they're relating this cartoon to the questioners at the debate the other night on behalf of MSNBC. Well, the GOP has shot themselves in the foot also, Doug, with a lackadaisical attitude where they took office and everybody thought they were going to set the world on fire, and all they did was throw water on the match. They have not done what they said they would do, and there's a lot of animosity against the GOP.
Well, there is, and of course, it's not just that they did nothing. It's that they point-blank lied to the voters. They did what they had to do to get the votes, and they went ahead and then they have lived the way they believe because they don't want to do the things they promised to do. They're against that. That's not in their DNA. John Boehner, Mitch McConnell, even Paul Ryan, they want amnesty. They want big government. They don't want to fix the problems. They talk a good game, but what has happened, I think, and I think you'll probably agree with this, is that they've done it too many times, and now they're like the little boy crying wolf, and the voters are saying, we're not buying it anymore. And so what you have is you have a very, very upset electorate who many feel that they would rather see the Republicans lose entirely than to give this election to the establishment Republicans. And frankly, I can't blame them. They want to see change.
All right, now I'm going to ask you if you'll stand by just for a few seconds because I've got to get a commercial break in here, Doug, and then I want to come back and talk to you about something very insidious and something that people don't realize how powerful it is, and that is the Clinton political machine. Stand by just for a moment. Let's ride Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, where the fun is sold. Oh my goodness, with all this rain we're getting, you know the temperatures are going to cool off. You know we're going to be getting some snow. You know the high country is going to be welcoming and beckoning you to come up on your snowmobiles and the new timber sled snow bikes. All of this for fun outside in southern Idaho for the winter months. Oh my goodness, and it's all over there at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. Yep, where the fun is sold. Great accessory department and a great service department serving you at Let's Ride. You stop over and see them today. Want to also mention too about my friends at Snake River Auto Body and Paint. I am a believer that they can fix anything. I tell you what, they did some work on my truck that was absolutely phenomenal. They've been in business since 1996, satisfaction guaranteed. They're open 7 in the morning to 6 p.m., 8 to 1 on Saturdays, and believe me, if you need something fixed with quality workmanship, it's Snake River Auto Body and Paint. They're located at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls. You tell them I told you to call. They're the best. It's 734-5790. Doug, I want to talk to you a little bit about a power-hungry, kind of a cancerous amoebic cell. That's how I would explain that to people. The Clinton political machine. People do not realize how insidious and how powerful the Clintons really are. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, you're absolutely right. The Clinton machine is really, they are the best, I guess, analogy would be to equate them to the mob. And in many ways, people feel they are part of the mob. And so is Obama, but they are different factions fighting for control of that mob. In this case, the Democrat Party. And the Clintons don't lose often. If you look at their history, they come out on top. That's why he was called the Teflon president. And Hillary's no different. And she has, as we talked briefly about a little bit last week, she has walked away from this Benghazi thing and the email scandal, thanks to recent actions in the hearing on Benghazi and in the Democrat debate. these are behind her. It doesn't matter what Congress says. They're not going to do anything. They really don't have the power to do anything. There's no way that she's going to get prosecuted. And so what we have is a woman now who is married to a serial philanderer, some may even say a serial rapist, who got away with perjury and was not convicted thanks to the Republicans in Congress in 1999. And now she's about to become our next president because, and I guess I kind of jumped ahead of myself, Zeb, and you may or may not agree with this, but I have come to the conclusion that one of the problems in the conservative side of things is that we get really enthusiastic when we have a little bit of success, and we get blinders on and we don't see the big picture and realize how big a mountain we have to climb and how hard it's going to be to get there. And so our little bit of success, for example, Ted Cruz, the most conservative GOP candidate out there, you know, he does backflips over the moderators and at CNBC during the last debate, and people are thrilled, and they should be. He did great. Yesterday, the campaigns agreed to keep the RNC out of negotiation on the debates, and the campaigns will negotiate the debate details for the future. That's good stuff. But these are small little baby steps, and at this point in time, Hillary still has a very clear path to the White House. And unless, as we said at the beginning of our interview today, unless we coalesce behind somebody pretty quickly here and quit shooting at each other, we're not going to have the strength to beat her in the general election.
I agree with that. I will agree with that up to a point, but honestly, where is the mindset of the American public? What in the world are they thinking or not reading or not seeing? How in the world can they possibly look at her as a presidential candidate that could be in the Oval Office running this country for 4 years with the scandals and the emails and all the detrimental things that this family's been involved in over the years? This woman is not qualified to lead the United States.
Well, she's not, and she has no accomplishments to her name as First Lady, as Senator, or as a cabinet member. However, the vast majority of Americans have no idea about this stuff. They don't read what we read. They don't listen to what we listen to. We are in the minority, and this is where we get overconfident, and it's up to us to educate people around us. Most people aren't even aware. They know Hillary Clinton. Well, she was the First Lady. She was wife of a previous president, and she's popular. And the media tells them she's popular, and that's all they go with. They don't pay attention. The vast majority of people, if they get news at all, and most don't, they either get it during a shock jock talk radio, music radio show on the way to work in the morning or going home at night, or they get it from the three major networks on broadcast TV. So people are not aware of all that goes on, and this is the problem, is the lack of information, the lack of knowledge amazes me. I just had this debate recently with a friend, and he was actually criticizing Donald Trump. And I came back and I was strong on some of the things he said, and I said, you're wrong. And I threw at him some information from Donald Trump's book, Time to Get Tough. And he said, I didn't know that. I said, well, you should do your homework before you make an accusation. I said, by the way, you said you read my blog. I did a whole analysis of that book telling people what Donald Trump stood for. And it kind of took him back, and he said, well, do you think, I said, frankly, more than reading my blog, you should go get the book. Especially now you can buy them used really cheap. And he said, well, do you think most Americans would do that? And I said, no. And Zeb, here's why I know you'll relate to this. This is why it's important for those of us, you and me and those who are listening. We need to be educated. We need to be talking to people around us. And I'm a broken record on this, but that's the only way people find out. Most people just do not know what's going on. They don't know what the competition is. One of the reasons Donald Trump has done so well is not because of his positions on things, as much as the fact people know who he is. Mm-hmm. His name recognition has carried him a long way. Now, I think his positions are excellent, but most people like him just because he's that guy on that famous TV show.
Right.
And so we have to realize how superficial our campaigns are and what we have to overcome. The more education we can do for the masses, the better chance we have at winning.
All right. Now, I want to also mention to you this morning in the time remaining, Paul Ryan accepting, of course, the gavel as Speaker of the House, and he had a great big speech about doing the uniting and bringing the GOP back to power again and really being the power that they should have been when they had their election. I'm not so sure. What are your thoughts?
skeptical would be understating it for me. I personally think we have a young Boehner on our hands, and he'll do things a little differently because he's a different personality, and he may do things with a softer hand than Boehner did. Boehner was known for attacking and not just attacking and abusing the members of the House that didn't toe the party line, his party line, but also the ones who didn't vote the way he wanted them to. He would punish them. Ryan may do it a little differently, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of change. And this comes back to we don't have. My personal view is maybe if we're lucky, we have 36 House members that are actually conservative. The vast majority of Republicans are either establishment Republicans or they're real moderate, and they just kind of go along with those in control because they don't want to make any waves and they want to keep their job. So what inroads we've made in the House have been done by a very small group of people, and we have to increase that. We have to get a lot more conservatives in there.
How could anybody in their right mind or out of their right mind ever solicit and maintain and okay a budget that's going to give Obama unlimited spending for the next 2 years of his administration, basically handing him a blank check which is going to come out of our pockets, and most of it is going to be for the idiocy of climate change? Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong.
I wish I could. I wish I could, Zeb, but you're not. And I think that what is really scary is we have people in Washington who think that debt's no problem. We can just keep going further and further into debt and it'll be okay. The national debt is no different than an individual's debt in their family life. It's just on a different scale. You could only be in debt so far and for so long before you're in trouble. And you don't borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and that's all we do. And when you have people, and here's a perfect example, when you have a Marco Rubio running for president doing really well when he has proven he can't even handle his own personal finances, and he defends it by saying, I can relate to the average man. And I can go into details that we don't have time for, so I won't, about him. But when you have that, and the people embrace that, it just shows people's lack of understanding of how critical our financial situation is in this country. Just before this show this morning, a friend emailed me and was mad about the new UN climate court that is going to allow small other countries to come against America, and the UN will be able to penalize America, and it'll cost us trillions for the bad things we do to the climate. And how it's hurting other countries. And my friend wrote to me, he said, this is just ridiculous. Why aren't they going after Japan for what happened with the radiation in Fukushima? And I wrote back and I said, well, I don't agree about Fukushima. It was an accident. You can't control accidents that are due to nature. I said, however, here's the difference between Japan and America. Japan probably, if they were taken to this climate court, probably would be smart enough to say, we're not paying it. America is stupid enough to go along with it and pay it and go further into debt to do so. We are broke. We are a bankrupt nation, and our American populace don't realize that. People just think the money just keeps flowing, and it doesn't. And so this is what scares me, because that is going to take us down. Your debt will determine your entire economy, and that's what's happening. And this is personally why I think a man like a Donald Trump or a Ben Carson are good choices, because both of them talk about fixing this problem, and that's really, really important for our future.
Well, one word. I've only got about a minute and a half left here, but the one word that I hang on any picture with Obama and the Democrats and the liberal left and even the Republicans is the word appeasement. They just go along to get along.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could win the Neville Chamberlain Award. I mean,
yeah.
Absolutely. That's all the left does. And, Zeb, it goes back, and I know you relate to this, because when we were kids, we had similar experiences, I have no doubt, and probably a lot of your listeners did too. We were raised that you stand up to a bully. You don't take it.
That's right.
Because when you do, the bully backs off, and actually the bully gets respect for you. The left doesn't believe that. The left believes the more you give in, the more they'll respect you. And we know it doesn't work. History has proven it, but these people do not learn from history.
Absolutely. I wish we had more time, Doug. I've got to run, but again, a very thorough analysis of what's going on. Wonderful blog, the Horse Sense blog. Doug Johnson, author, and just an all-around good guy. Thank you, Doug. See you next Monday on the program.
Have a great week.
Thank you, sir. Always enjoy having Doug on our show, and we appreciate him being here every Monday at 9:06. Thank you very much. Hey, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and much, much more with folks that are very accessible and devoted to serving you. That's right, serving you. All you have to do to make an appointment to make sure you're covered and protected is call 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, protecting you. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, don't forget they're offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money and provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Really good folks. In just a few minutes, we're going to have Carrie Kupek on the line with the Alliance Defending Freedom. I do not want you to miss this segment, so stand by. We're going to get her on the air just momentarily. It will be very interesting, to say the least. While I have just a moment before we put her on the program this morning, I want to remind you about Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Now is the time to make sure that you have a firearm in your home for your family protection. And they've got the best from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester. And they've got all the ammo and all the accessories. They've been in Old Town Twin Falls since 1936. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. You stop in and see Ryan and the rest of his very knowledgeable staff today at Red's Trading Post. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I'm very much blessed to have this lady on our program almost every week on behalf of the Alliance Defending Freedom. Her name is Carrie Kupek, and this morning I just absolutely am livid that each and every one of us should pay attention to her words and her thoughts on an issue that is permeating itself all across the United States, including right here in Magic Valley with the Twin Falls School District. Carrie Kupek, good morning, and you really stirred me up over this bill that's going to be voted on tomorrow called the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance Bill. And I'll let you take it away and explain how insidious this really is.
So insidious and so disturbing. Houston is the fourth largest city in the United States, and you remember last year there was a little incident that was referred to as the Houston Five, and that was when the Houston mayor, Anise Parker, she sparked a national outcry by subpoenaing the sermons of 5 local pastors who expressed concern about a local law that was going to be that would threaten fundamental free speech rights and just privacy issues because it would allow men into intimate settings with unwilling women and girls, mainly bathrooms and locker rooms. And these pastors were involved in leading the opposition to this bill, and the mayor went after these pastors and tried to go after their private communication, their texts, their emails, their sermons, anything related to homosexuality and her and this bill. And anyway, thankfully that was resolved fine, and she ended up withdrawing her subpoenas because of the public outcry. And then the Texas Supreme Court later on came on and said, hey, you can't throw out the signatures of all your citizens who also oppose this bill. So now we are here in November 2015, and tomorrow this bill will be before the people of Houston. And the activists supporting this bill have gotten celebrities, have gotten people like Hillary Clinton to support this, and it's quite frankly astounding to me. It defies common sense. Why in the world people would want men to be able to enter women's locker rooms and bathrooms is just, I don't understand it, but that's what's going on, and there are a number of reasons why Houston does not need this bill.
All right, now, Carrie, I said earlier this morning, and I'm going to follow up on this with you after the program, the Twin Falls school districts, and you possibly may be very well aware of this, have adopted the same kind of a policy as to what they're trying to promote in Houston. I'll read from an article in our paper. The new gender identity policy includes a section about school trips stating transgender students will be assigned rooms based on the gender identity they consistently assert at school. I mean, it's exactly the same problem that they're voting on in Houston. Why? Why, Carrie, are we seeing a demise and a complete upheaval of our society and anything with morality, and people like the Twin Falls School District and others are biting on this worm hook, line, and sinker?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the bottom line is that schools' number one priority should be ensuring the safety and privacy of its students. These students are entrusted to the schools by their parents each and every day, and teachers and administrators have an obligation before the law to make sure that those students feel comfortable, especially when they are in intimate settings, as in like undressing for activities and using the restroom. And there was a school district in New York that unfortunately just enacted a policy that would allow students to use locker rooms and restrooms of the opposite sex. And what's interesting, it's actually, this all came down because there was a student who is biologically a female but is currently self-identifying as a male to use restrooms and locker rooms designated for use by male students. This is why they changed this entire policy on its head. Now, this girl, this young woman rather, using the boys' locker and restrooms has made multiple male students very uncomfortable and have caused them to modify their daily activities in order to, not surprisingly, try to avoid sharing these private facilities with a classmate who is biologically female. So we at Alliance Defending Freedom, we sent this school district letter, and we're really encouraging them to change this policy. And we actually have a model policy that we have been sending to various school districts around the country that show that, look, you need to protect the safety and privacy of students, and there are ways to accommodate these few students who are perhaps struggling with sexual identity, and there are ways to do that does not undermine common sense. And sometimes that includes having them, go in a private changing room, or that maybe designating a unisex one, but certainly not allowing boys and girls to use each other's facilities. It doesn't make sense, and quite frankly, it's dangerous for both boys and girls.
Absolutely. Why? Carrie, I'm so emotional about this issue and so upset about this issue and the absolute insanity and stupidity of people that would back this kind of a program. Number one, God does not make mistakes. God does not make mistakes. You're either a boy or a girl. Number two, why in the world are we adhering to giving special allowances and turning our whole society on its ear for such a minuscule amount, such a small number? Who is sponsoring this, and who is trying to wreck any morality left in this United States?
Right, you have a lot of activists who are pushing these bills, and pushing these policies both in the schools and in the cities. And the reality is, no federal law, not one, requires public schools to allow boys into girls' restrooms and vice versa. Actually, when school districts decide to enact these kinds of policies, they could be exposing themselves to legal liability for violating students' rights to bodily privacy. And again, it's their duty. It is their duty to ensure the safety of each student that walks through their door every day. So, you have this on the school district level, which is quite concerning. Like you said, you're seeing it right there in Idaho. On the larger scale, we're seeing it in these cities, in Houston. And the reality is that the bills in places like Houston, they go far beyond even what we're talking about. There are a few things that they do that goes much further than these restrooms and locker rooms. For instance, a bill like the Houston bill, it will violate First Amendment free speech rights, because what happens is, say there's a printer who does not want to print messages that violate their core beliefs about marriage. Well, people can use these ordinances to force these printers against their conscience and faith to promote and celebrate messages with which they don't agree. Again, you have the locker room and bathroom issue, and then you also, and the other thing is, which I always find so interesting, especially on the city level, in Houston, there is no evidence that discrimination is even a problem. What happens is these activists and those that agree with them, they produce these hypotheticals, and these hypotheticals sound horrifying. But the reality is there are very rarely, if any specific verifiable instances of discrimination that warrant taking such a drastic step. So why create a quote-unquote very bad solution to a problem that doesn't even exist?
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense. And instead opens up a Pandora's box for, quite frankly, disaster in terms of privacy.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Caller, quickly. I've got a lot to cover in a short time. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this may sound like a broken record, Zeb, but where are the religious groups on something like this?
That's a good question, and I'll ask her that. Carrie, what about parents? What about religious leaders? What about people that have a sense of morality? What about people that understand common sense? Where in the world are they on this issue?
Well, a lot of parents oppose these bills. You see a lot of, if we're talking about the school districts, you see both students and parents coming out in opposition to them. So, for instance, in the letter that we sent to the New York school district, which is similar to letters that we've sent to other school districts that are considering these kinds of policies or already have enacted them, we offer to evaluate the situation and potentially offer free legal assistance if anyone decides to file a lawsuit against their recommended policy. So if a student and their parent want to fight this, we, depending on what the facts are, we potentially can get involved and offer free legal help. When the situation in Houston, the religious leaders came out in full force. That's why the whole Houston 5 situation happened last year. You had 5 pastors, big area pastors, who said absolutely not on our ground. We are not going to endanger the safety and privacy of the women and children in this city. And because they took such a bold stand, that is why the mayor of Houston went after them with such a vengeance. Now, she got slapped down, but that's why she went after them so strongly, because they took a strong stand. So there are many people fighting these things. But, it's a very interesting battle, to be sure.
Well, Carrie, I hate to beleaguer this point, but I'm just taken aback that what has been evil and what has been dark and on the very insidious side of our morality, this issue, now it's coming to the forefront that we are the ones that are the bigots and the hate mongers, and they, the gays, lesbians, and transgenders, woe is us. We've got to have complete control. That's about what it is right now. They want complete control over our businesses, over our schools, over our churches. They want to demand that preachers and pastors only preach on certain things, and they can possibly get in trouble for talking about Romans 1:27. The whole world is turned upside down this morning, and I don't see enough voices to counteract this.
Well, I would like to point out something that is encouraging. The whole reason that this bill in Houston is going up before the people tomorrow to take a vote on it is because people did take a stand. If those pastors and people of faith and just really people of freedom in the city of Houston and its surrounding areas had not gotten involved, this bill wouldn't even be before them. Because if you remember, the city council actually passed this bill, and it sparked an outrage and outcry in the Houston area. So what they did was the people got together, got the requisite 3 times the requisite amount of signatures to take that bill the city council had passed unilaterally and get that bill before the people who are actually going to be living out the effects of this bill every day. And if you remember, the city just threw out thousands of those signatures for bogus reasons. And the Texas Supreme Court had to come in and say, no, those signatures were valid. The citizens did the right thing. They followed the proper process. This belongs before the people, and they should take a vote. So really, because so many people spoke out and took a stand, that's the only reason why this bill is before the people tomorrow.
Okay, I agree with that, and I applaud that. But I want to also ask you, what if, I know this is a speculative question, Carrie, but what if good in Houston is prevalent tomorrow and they defeat the evil? I am very concerned as to what kind of insidious avenue of approach the gay, lesbian, and transgender movement will take then.
Right, so the activists who are pushing these kinds of ordinances, they're relentless. and which is why it is so crucial for people in each state to remain vigilant on the state and local level. It is fascinating to me how much happens on the school district level, on the local city and county level, and basically once those things are done, it's very hard to undo them as they become, statewide and even at the federal level. So that's why it's actually interesting. Everyone in their states have the potential to have a lot of influence and really be able to take stands against these kinds of things, to do what they can do to preserve freedom for their neighbors and their communities. And they should know it's not really just limited to where they're at. Because once these things are done, precedents have been set, it is much harder to undo them as they go, as they get bigger and bigger. So really, people should take note of this as an encouragement to get involved in their school board elections, get involved in their city council meetings, and they can make really quite a difference.
I want to go back and ask you a question you've already answered, but I want you to define it just a little bit more in the time remaining. Who are the people? Who are the groups? Where is the money coming to promote such an insidious, absolutely morality breakdown in our society? Where's the big bucks coming from?
Well, I can tell you one particular group that's pouring a lot of money into Houston is a group called the Human Rights Campaign, and this is an LGBT organization that pushes these kinds of bills and legislation, and they are very well funded, and they put a lot of money into these efforts. But you also have groups on the other side, and you have the Texas Family Policy Organization and groups like these that are doing their best to combat this and are taking a look at the big picture and seeing how this is really a blow against freedom for everybody. And so we'll continue to see how this plays out, but it is certainly a very, very deep and intense battle that is not going away anytime soon.
Let me ask you one final quick question, Carrie. What about businesses? What about businesses like mine? What about talk show hosts? What about people involved in the media, or people involved in a restaurant, or people involved in a lawyer's firm? I mean, we're all open and subject to having something like this really cause a multiple of cases of problems for all of us in free speech.
Right, and so people so often forget that our First Amendment freedoms are just so interrelated in many ways. And when one is chipped away at or one is destroyed, the other ones suffer as well. And that's why it's important for people to keep on doing what they can to make sure that everyone can live and operate freely according to their faith. That's what created this country. That's why we love this country. But bills and ordinances like this severely threaten those freedoms and undermine them for sure. And just something quickly I wanted to point out about businesses. Speaking of businesses, in Houston, there was a survey done of the Fortune 500 companies in Houston, and it actually showed that most companies voluntarily include sexual orientation and gender identity in their employment policies. So we know that the Houston business community is already voluntarily hiring and serving everyone equally. So again, why are they creating these laws? Why are they creating these bills? They're unnecessary, and they're very detrimental to freedom at large.
Absolutely. Carrie Kupek, God bless you and all that you do and the Alliance Defending Freedom. Please, so my audience can follow this and other stories, tell us how they can find out more.
They can go to adflegal.org.
Carrie, please follow up with us next week on this story in Houston, if you would. And again, I thank you so much for all you do. You're a real blessing and a gem to have on this program. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb. We appreciate you.
All right. God bless you. Carrie Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Oh, folks, we have got trouble out there. We've got a lot of trouble out there that we've got to keep our vigilance and watch as to what's happening in our society. Oh, my goodness, I got to hurry. The weather forecast brought to you this hour by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Number to call, 438-2485 or 431-8733. Trimming, pruning, removal of tree limbs. You don't want those tree limbs coming through your kitchen window in a winter storm. No, get them all trimmed. And they can blow out your sprinkler lines too, so they don't freeze up, and then you really got problems. Call them, Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 438-2485 and 431-8733. I bit my tongue. 8733. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's Here's your weather forecast for the very first week in November, and, well, it's going to be a wet one. Rain showers for today. It's going to be a little bit on the breezy side. High of 44. Tonight, expect a low of 35. Now, tomorrow, just be careful out there, especially if you're on the roadways. Rain and snow showers mixed create very, very slick conditions. High of 37 with an overnight low of 28. Overcast for Wednesday. High of 38 with an overnight low of 24. Then for Thursday, we might be able to see some sunshine with a high of 43. Yesterday's high was 46, and tonight's sunset's going to be at 5:26. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Excellent job. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service bringing you the weather this hour. Thank you, Scott. And he's also got a brand new curbing machine that he can put a brand new curb around your property. Call him on that, 438-2485 or 431-8733. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Hey, by the way, don't forget Russ Mallory running for re-election for the Burley City Council, lifetime resident of Burley, honest, conservative, proven leadership, and he wants a continuation of our law enforcement contract with Cassia County. Don't forget tomorrow, vote for Russ Mallory for re-election to the Burley City Council, paid for by Russ Mallory Committee for Re-election, Burley City Council. Holy smokes, it's time for the Scows Answer Man. Scows, CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts, Rupert, Hayburn, and Burley. Let's not forget, since 1949, every detail matters, parts sales and service, and we say good morning to a guy that did a darn good job last week, and that's Corey Smith. Good morning, Corey. How are you?
I am great, thank you. Great to be on again.
Well, what are we going to talk about this week, Corey?
Well, I'd like to talk about one of the brands that we represent, JCB.
Okay, now what exactly does JCB mean, and what is it?
Well, not a lot of people really realize that JCB is the third largest construction equipment manufacturer in the world, and JCB stands for Joseph Cyril Bamford.
Oh.
Joseph, Joe we'll call him, founded JCB back in 1945, so this is the 70th anniversary this year.
Okay. And
that was founded in Uttoxeter, England.
Okay.
And, they made the first product was a tipping trailer for the agricultural market there in England.
Uh-huh. Well, what is the equipment today, JCB? When we see those kind of long-necked deals, explain basically what they are.
Well, the long-necked deal you might be referring to is the telehandler. JCB invented the telehandler in 1977.
Uh-huh.
And for those who are not familiar with a telehandler, just think of a forklift with a telescopic boom on it.
Okay.
And it is interesting to note that JCB builds 1 out of every 3 telehandlers sold in the world today.
Oh, my. So they've been around for over, 68 years, and do people really know what all their uses are for? Give us some of the uses that this piece of equipment would be necessary for.
Well, material handling, in a word. And material handling in southern Idaho means primarily moving hay bales. Grain feeds is another popular use. They're a very popular machine in the hay market. Well recognized there as a industry leader.
Okay. And now, where are they located? Over at the Big Scows Truck Center? Is that where you have these?
Yes, right here at Scows Truck Center. It's 360 South, 400 West here in Hayburn, right off of exit 211.
Okay.
We have a little bit of a test track ourselves. It's interesting to note that JCB as a company, an English company, actually owns a dairy, and they use that dairy as a test track for their machines, any new product ideas. I thought that might be interesting to your listeners.
Yeah, I mean, to go over there, and they own a dairy, so then they can test the machinery to see if it's going to get the job done the way they want it done on the dairy, and then they can change or kind of have a little reconstruction as to better serve everybody's needs. Is that correct?
Oh, that's correct. You know, being a family-owned business, they've always been a family-owned business. There's no shareholders. That gives them a lot of latitude. They change the machines when needed, and actually develop their own engine. Another interesting fact about JCB, they hold the world land speed record for a diesel engine. When they put their first engine together, they thought, this has got to be a good engine. As part of our development, we're going to go over to the Bonneville Salt Flats and set the land speed record.
Oh, my.
So it's a very reliable engine, which we can talk more about, hopefully, in a future conversation.
Okay. So, and you say you've got a test track, per se, over at the Scows Truck Center at I-84 exit 211. So if they're not sure how to run these and they're not sure what it would do to benefit their business, their dairy, their farm and ranch operation, they can actually test it right there. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. They can look at the machines, they can operate the machines, and of course, any major investment like this, a hay or a livestock operator, dairy operator can actually operate the machine on their own premises to, make sure they're getting the right machine, the right option.
Well, it sounds to me like everybody at Scows, CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts, and with all the different machinery and everything, people need to call you and they need to find out more. Now, how do they reach you? Are you in your office every day? Do you have a phone number that they can call you?
Well, they can call 679-6708 and catch me here at the office anytime on my cell phone at 219-9026. And I'm happy to talk to you anytime.
All right. Now, last week we were talking about the Mahindra tractors, and now this week we're talking about these great big JCBs, and I'll tell you what, you know all the information. Corey, I really appreciate you being on the air this morning on behalf of Scows CarQuest Auto and Truck Parts, and we'll send everybody your way to talk more about these great big JCB machines that would really help their business.
It was my pleasure. Keep fighting the good fight, Zeb. Appreciate it.
All right. Good man right there. Corey Smith with Scows. And I'd like to mention that Scows CarQuest in Rupert is at 323 East 8th Street and Highway 25 in Rupert. CarQuest of Burley, 518 Overland in Burley. And Scows Big Truck Center at I-84 exit 211. And believe me, every detail matters. Parts, sales, and service at Scows. And thank you this morning to Corey Smith. Really interesting about the JCB machines. You call him for any other information. Thank you to our folks and friends at Scows. Oh my, we got a couple of good words to get in here real quick. Re-elect Mike Brown as Rupert City Mayor. Mike stands up and believes in our veterans and our community. Mike was instrumental in getting the flag at half-staff on the Idaho Roll Call Monument, so let's keep moving forward. Re-elect Rupert City Mayor Mike Brown as mayor. Mike cares. Paid for by Citizens George and Donna Mass. Thank you very much. Now, here's what we've got coming up next hour. We're going to have a little report from the Golden Heritage Senior Center on that great, big, huge November 19th Pilgrim Pride dinner at the Senior Center. And I had a couple of calls over the weekend regarding that Senior Citizens Dinner and all the proceeds. Listen to me now. All the proceeds from this event are going to go directly to the Meals on Wheels program. And last year we had an outstanding success. I think they had close to 300 people come in there for dinner. And you don't have to be present to win the door prizes. There's going to be a lot of door prizes. It starts at 5 o'clock on the 19th. And we urge you to come back and help support it again this year because it's very important that we get the funds for all the shut-ins for the Meals on Wheels program. So that's coming up on November the 19th. Okay? Then after that, we're going to be talking to Josie Garcia over at the Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And then at 10:32 this morning, we're going to be calling a first-time person on this program as far as a guest is concerned. His name is John Preston, and he's a firefighter and former Marine, and he's helping our vets with some of his music music, helping them fight PTSD, and he's going to be on the air at 10:32 this morning. So we got a lot of things to cover. You are listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. All you have to do is call the number 312-0957 today. Mount Harrison Audiology. Once again, quickly, I got to get this in. Congratulations to Dorothy Silcock. She won again. She picked the winning team and the closest to the final score in the game of the week last week, sponsored by Denny's Restaurant at 611 Overland in Burley. And she is going to receive another Grand Slam breakfast. Congratulations to Dorothy Silcock. We're going to take a break and be back in 6 minutes. Don't go away. Oh boy, third hour, and my goodness, is it ever raining outside. We're always saying we want the moisture. Well, we're getting it outside today and yesterday and tomorrow and the next day. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service at 734-6969. Before we get our guest on the phone with us this morning, I want to remind you about the Chadwick Sports Grill. Ooh, my good eating at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. And today, the hot brown sandwich. A rainy day, get in there and have a hot brown sandwich served with choice of side, veggies, and super salad at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Always great menu choices and a super special every day at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Hey, don't forget, Mike Brown wants your vote again to be mayor of Rupert. That's right. The door to the room of opportunity swings on the hinges of opposition, and boy, Mike would like to come back and continue serving you as mayor of Rupert. He's been 4 years as the mayor, 12 years on the Rupert City Council, and 23 years a business owner in the area. And he's committed to the citizens of Rupert, and he wants your vote tomorrow. Vote Mike Brown for mayor of Rupert, paid for by the committee to elect Mike Brown, Max Vaughn, treasurer. There you go. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to a lovely lady, and I really admire the job that she has done as the director of the Golden Heritage Senior Center at 2421 Overland in Burley. Hello, Linda. How are you?
I am so good. How are you, Zeb?
Well, you have got a great voice on the air. Thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about what your duties are there at the Golden Heritage Senior Center.
Oh, they just vary. I'm basically a jack of all trades. I do Meals on Wheels, I do the kitchen, I do the office work. Anything that needs to be done gets done by me.
All right.
And with the help of Debbie Critchfield and all the boards, of course.
Well, I know you've got an outstanding group of people over there, very friendly and hardworking, but we've got a second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner coming up on the 19th of November. And I wanted you to highlight this morning the value of where the net proceeds would go, and that's the Meals on Wheels. Would you care to just kind of elaborate a little bit what Meals on Wheels is and what it does?
Well, the Meals on Wheels program is for the homebound that can't go out and go out to eat or go to a family member's house to eat dinner or lunch or whatever. So basically, what we do is go deliver the meals, make sure that they're okay, because some people, they don't even have a phone. They don't have anybody come in and check on them. So it's very, very, very important that our route people go out and go and check and evaluate the situation, evaluate it, make sure that they're okay. And basically just socialize a little bit with them, because some of them, that's the only people they see all day.
Oh, my. And so the funding of this program is all through basically contributions and purchases of tickets for various fundraisers, etc. And without these fundraisers, what would happen to the seniors?
Oh, we would have to close our doors, and I'm not sure what would happen to our homebound, and that worries me. That worries me a lot, because I'm not sure of what their future holds. I mean, if we stop delivering meals, I know there's other companies that do that, and I don't know how far they go out or if they're in the area. I really don't know any about that, but it is very essential, I think, for this area to have the Meals on Wheels program.
You know, Linda, isn't it kind of a shame that we bend over backwards and we try to put together the funding for soccer teams and youth baseball leagues and everything else, but our seniors, basically, they have to scrounge up the money on their own or with fundraisers just to make sure that these folks get one meal a day. Isn't that a shame?
It is a very shame. I mean, our community has been great. Some of the businesses have really contributed to this fundraiser and others. But, I mean, it's just funny how sometimes you have to pull like teeth to get people to say or do anything for the volunteers, and it's a shame. It really is a shame.
Let me ask you this. Now, this Pilgrim Pride dinner on the 19th, it's going to start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Give us kind of a run-through as to what's going to happen. They can show up anytime between 5 and 7:30, correct?
Correct. They can come through the doors. They're going to get a ticket, of course, to get we're going to have door prizes. And with the same ticket they purchase or they buy at the door, that's the ticket they're going to put in for the door prizes. They come in, they grab their tray, they eat. Throughout the night, though, we're going to be doing door prizes, going to be entertainment. It's just going to be lots of fun. Last year was pretty neat. I enjoyed it last year. There was lots and lots of people, and that's what I'm hoping for this year.
Now, they don't have to stay there for the entirety of the evening to see if they're going to win. We'll call them, right?
Yes, absolutely. In the back of their ticket, they'll have a place for their name and their phone number. So,
okay.
Yeah, they don't have to be present to win.
Now, I want you to just sit back, and I want you to brag a little bit on the cooks over there, because the meal last year brought rave reviews. Everybody said it was phenomenal. What are we going to eat this year?
This year, our menu is turkey, ham, stuffing, potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, cranberry jello or cranberry sauce, corn, yams, or squash, and the rolls will be homemade by our special baker, Connie.
Oh, my.
Connie Satterwhite. She is awesome. I think she's the best baker in the world.
I have had some of her cinnamon rolls, and to use the phrase the kids use, they are to die for.
Yes, they are.
And again,
also, her peach cobbler, I think, was pretty good, wasn't it?
Oh, I was just going to bring that up. Her peach cobbler is phenomenal. Now, the cost is only $10 per ticket. Now, they can get tickets are being sold at various businesses, and they're also going to be available at the door. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Correct. Now, this is a major fundraiser, and I know the advertising and everything is really going to go hot and heavy over the next couple of weeks. But what about the senior center itself? I mean, how important is that for our seniors to have that center open every day?
Well, geez, just with even socializing, I think it's a big deal. A lot of people, a lot of these seniors come in here and they've never been hugged, never been touched, and it gives you a good feeling to be able to provide that for them. They come in, they're socializing, they're having fun. We have activities like bingo. It's every Tuesday at 6:45. We have an art class here every Thursday at 1 o'clock, and chair yoga for the women that like to exercise a little bit every Monday and Wednesday at 10:45. I mean, there's just various things that go on in here, and I mean, we welcome everybody. It doesn't matter how old or young they are. We welcome everybody here. And
the other thing I'd like you to highlight a little bit is daily when you have their lunches, the public's invited to come in, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And for $6 for the ones that are under 60. Sorry, I apologize for that. I mean, you can't get a better plate. I mean, this plate is packed. I mean, she really packs on your plate, and it's very, very, very good food. I think right now we have one of the best cooks we've ever had here, and that's Debbie Hoyt. She's awesome. I love her to death.
All right. Now, I also want to mention that on November 19th, the night of the second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner, we're also going to have some interesting entertainment. Tell us a little bit about who's going to be playing the old ivories on the piano.
That would be Scott Zimmerman. Oh, he's paid for us last year, and he's just great. Just great.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And what about singers? Are we going to have anybody sing?
Yes, Dan Hendricks.
He's phenomenal.
And he was here last year as well, but our sound system wasn't working very well. This year we're going to make sure that our sound system is going really well, and everything's up to date on that. Last year was like kind of like an exercise kind of version. This time we're really going to hit hard and try to get everything more organized.
Well, I'll tell you something. It might have been an exercise last year, but oh my goodness, did we feed a lot of people. It was almost like close to 300, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
It was actually 249, I think it was. Yeah, it was quite a few people here.
Well, I just want to say, Linda, thank you so much for what you do. You're just a kind of a light shining on the hill, helping everybody, and I really appreciate it. And if they want more information, is there a number they can call?
Yes. our number here at the office is 878-8646, and of course they can contact me any time of the day on my cell phone, which is 670-4879.
Oh, Linda, you do a wonderful job. Thank you. The second annual Pilgrim Pride Dinner coming up at the Golden Heritage Senior Center on November 19th, and tickets are only $10 a ticket. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much, Deb.
Thanks, Linda. Bye-bye. There's a nice lady right there. Linda at the Senior Center, the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Big fundraiser for the Meals on Wheels coming up on November 19th. Don't you miss it. By the way, on Thursdays, real quick, I want to remind you that we have a special program called Cassia County School Days, and I really do appreciate the two sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and don't forget every Tuesday is Grandparents' Day, where you can buy with a 10% discount. That's right, at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. The best of surgeries, life-saving colonoscopies, and of course knee, hand, and foot surgeries. You call and they can try to save you money on your surgeries at 1344 Highland Avenue. The number 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Right now we're going to go to the phone lines, and it's time for our weekly review of what's happening with the Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1284 8th Street in Rupert. Your health is so important. Why don't you work with the best that really care about your health? And that's the folks over at the Minidoka Memorial Hospital. And this morning we're going to be visiting with Josie Garcia. Josie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm kind of waterlogged, if you want to know the truth.
Yes, that rain is nice, though.
It is good out there. Hey, listen, let me ask you this. It seems like every single person that I get on this program on behalf of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, you're also very nice.
We are very nice.
What is your job over there?
Excuse me?
I said, what is your job over at Minidoka Memorial Hospital?
I work with the patients that have no insurance, with the uninsured, and I try to find them financial assistance in whatever I can. All kinds of could be combined application, Medicaid, homeowners insurance, auto, anything that might cover their medical expense.
Is this a growing problem of having uninsured patients, not only for your hospital, but many hospitals across the country?
Yes, very much so.
And what are some of the answers as to what to do and how to handle this situation?
Well, when they come in and they're hospitalized, and they're coming in here and they're going to be here a few days, or they have surgery or many treatments, they get worried about how they're going to pay for it. I always go see them on the first day. I introduce myself and tell them I can help them with financial assistance and try to put them at ease. Some of them come in here and they're very ill, but they're also very concerned about how they're going to pay for their bills. So I try to, calm them down, and before they leave, I try to fill out some financial assistance paperwork. The most important one that we do, the largest one that we do, is the combined application. Combined is for Medicaid and county assistance.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming that I feel so much compassion for some of these people that they probably don't have any insurance and they get hurt. They're trying to pay their bills, and it's got to be just an enormous load on their mind as to what they're going to do next. And that's where you come in, right?
Yes. I help them with all the paperwork that I can. There's some personal stuff that they themselves have to take care of, but I try to gather information for them, call their employer, and get their list their income or anything that I can do to help them, because people that are ill don't have the energy or the want to go out there and gather information wherever they have to. They go home, they're recovering, and they're not in a good mood to do all the paperwork.
What happens, Josie, when a person might be denied for an application of some coverage? I mean, boy, that's got to be a depressing, lonely feeling right there for the patient.
Yes, on the combined application, which is the one for the county, that one is we can appeal, and there's the county, and the one that I work with mostly is Minidoka County. She'll process the application. It's a large process. She goes through a lot of information. and views all of the receipts, and she'll see if they're actually are indigent. And if they get denied, then they always have an appeal process, and I help them through the appeal process. I will appeal for them, and then they will schedule a hearing with the county commissioners, and I go with them to the appeal process too and help them along with that.
Okay. Now, are there other hospitals in the area, or for that matter across the board, the United States? Do all of them have people like yourself that are advocates that can help people without any insurance?
Yes, most of them. They absolutely do. They want to get money from the help out the people that are uninsured. Here in Idaho, I don't know of other states, but Idaho, as far as I know, is the only one that has the county assistance, which is the catastrophic and county for the people that are uninsured. Other states, I don't know if they have it or not, but Idaho does, and that's been very helpful for the uninsured here in Idaho. And yes, all hospitals, I know the ones that I deal with here in Idaho and in the ones in Utah also, they have a person like me in their hospital that helps them with the paperwork and tries to get them assistance, whether it be county, Medicaid, apply for Social Security or auto insurance, crime victims, anything out there that could help them cover their bill.
You really have to have a plethora of knowledge. You must have a kind of a cornucopia of information that you have to go into for each and every person. This must take an enormous amount of your time, does it not?
Well, it does. Right now, I was looking at my files, and I'm working with 11 applicants, and they're in different stages of being... they're in a determination to be approved, or they're in an appeal process, or they're waiting to bring the application back. They're in different stages. And so I have 11 that I'm working with. But it's not like you fill out the application and you forget about it. You follow them through like a good 45, sometimes 2 or 3 months to get everything processed.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Really, is there a final answer on this problem? Is there some way that you think that it could be solved or at least minimized?
I really don't know. It's just so many things. There's some people that are, the young ones that, the younger people, they don't think they need Medicaid, insurance. They're very healthy and they don't get insurance, but they're also the ones that fall off of a haystack and shatter their ankle, and they have huge medical bills.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when this comes in. There's people that do have insurance, but their premiums are really high. Their deductible is very high, and that's almost like being half insured because they still have a large balance to pay afterwards.
Oh, my.
So it's a combination of a lot of things. I don't know what the true thing to do. I don't know. It's very, very complicated with the exchange, with Medicaid, with the county. It's just too complicated for me to even try to solve. I have no way to do that. But I know that when they come here, we will try and find financial assistance for them.
And you must be kind of a beacon of hope for these folks because you come in with, you've got a great personality. I can tell that. You've got a smiling voice. I can hear that on the radio. And it must be a real pleasure for them to know that they've got somebody in their corner like you because you're out there working, trying to do all you can to find this alternative funding.
I really like my job, and I get a lot of satisfaction when we go through all of this paperwork and talking to all these people, Medicaid, county, and everyone, and then at the end, when you get them approved, it is a big relief for them, and I feel like I've succeeded. And some of these people really need the help, and when they know that they can get insurance for their ongoing problem, then they can get the care that they need and not be staying home and not getting the care that they need. Like some of people get sicker because they can't come to the hospital or to their doctors because they have no money to pay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josie Garcia, you're the financial counselor at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. I wish you were my banker. You've got a great personality. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I thank you for being on the program this morning, and if there's ever anything we can do in the future to help promote what you're doing, just let us know and we'll get you on the air, okay?
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Minidoka Memorial Hospital, 1224 8th Street in Rupert. And remember, your health is so important. Why don't you work with the best that really care? And those are the folks over at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. The number to call, general information number, 436-0481. And I want to say thanks again to Josie Garcia, financial counselor for Minidoka Memorial Hospital, for being on the program here this morning. Very nice lady. I got a couple of minutes. Give me a call. We'll talk about anything. We'll just pretend we're sitting over a cup of coffee out in the barn leaning on an old roping saddle right now. Just give me a call and we'll talk about anything that you want to talk about for the remainder of this half hour. So give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would like to hear from you. While I'm waiting for the call to come in, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. I've said this many, many times in the past, whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Please get a hold of Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459, along with Lennox, saving you money. Thank you very much. All right, come on, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Whew. Well, I have just a moment here. I want to get this in here tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. What day is it? Wednesday will be the soil districts are sponsoring a cover crop tour on Wednesday, November 4th at 8:30 in the morning, which will include visits to various fields, implementing cover crop practices, followed by a big, delicious Dutch oven lunch. The tour and the lunch are free, but please respond right away and let Doreen know at 878-5556 because the bus seating will be limited. And then, coming up this next weekend, the Veterans Helping Veterans fundraiser spaghetti dinner and raffle to raise money to help veterans, sponsored by Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association and the Veterans Helping Veterans chapters in Twin Falls, Burley, Rupert, and Idaho Falls. It's going to be this coming Saturday, November 7th, at the River Christian Fellowship Church, and that's at 4002 North, 3300 East Falls Avenue in Twin Falls. The time of the dinner, it starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and goes till 7, and then they'll start the raffle at 7 p.m. And for more information, get a hold of Mike Campbell at 670-0043. Holy mackerel. A lot of things going on, and we urge you to support them. Okay? Let's see, what else have I got cooking here before I send it back over to Wheels. Tomorrow on the program, Frosty Woolridge, and we're going to be talking about the Muslim refugees coming in, many of which we need to be very concerned about, contrary to what the liberal left wants you to think, many of which are and have been contacted by ISIS, possibly to be recruited as terrorists coming into this country, and we're going to be talking about that with Frosty. And then also tomorrow on the program, don't forget, one of my favorites, Dr. Ken Turner, and he is Dr. History. And I get more calls, more suggestions, and more program ideas for that segment, and people really like it. And it's brought to you by our friends at Minnecasia Sales. So that's tomorrow morning at 10:06. Let's send it back over to our main studios right now, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Don't you go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour. And I'm really looking forward to this interview this morning with a gentleman that is a Marine veteran and a firefighter. And when I saw on his bio that he's a firefighter, boy, that made me sit right up and take notice because of my son being a firefighter for the Boise State Capitol Fire Department up in Boise. And John Preston, good morning to you. Nice to have you on the program.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I am great. Boy, I'll tell you what area am I talking to you in? What part of the United States?
So I'm in the city of Palo Alto in California.
In California, and a firefighter for how long?
4 years now, and on duty, by the way, so if the tones drop, I gotta go.
You know, and John, believe me, I understand the situation, because numerous times I'd be talking to my son while he's on duty, and all of a sudden I'd hear that buzzer go, and it's not even goodbye, Dad. It's I gotta run, and he's gone. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit that you are also a Marine veteran, and you have been in harm's way, and you've seen the worst of what humanity can do during wartime situations. And it's not only just with the injuries, it's also with the mental capabilities of people when they come home with PTSD. What are you doing to try to help some of our veterans, John?
Well, basically, it's been the last year of my life completely dedicated to that. I was blessed. I was given the ability to play and write music and do it pretty well. So about a year and a half ago, I was actually sitting out, and I was on injury from the department, and I knew I was going to be out a long time. I was getting surgery. I picked up the phone, and I called everyone I knew, because I was assigned musician back in 2004 for a video we actually made in Iraq. And it took off. I signed with Pacific Records. I released my first album last Veterans Day, Your War's Over, and we gave 30% of the proceeds for the first album went to boot campaign to directly combat PTSD. And then now my new album that's out, Day to Night, the single track off of that is actually about a Marine that died in combat last year in Afghanistan, and we're giving 30% of those proceeds directly to his wife and his brand new daughter that never got a chance to meet him. So it's been a crazy road so far, and we've been so blessed and so fortunate to have the opportunity to do this and get media all over the country. I mean, I'm talking to you today, which is amazing. And I personally battled with PTSD since I got back from the war. I didn't know what I was going through in 2004 when I got back, because it wasn't a public thing. We had no idea what was happening. I just knew I was a wreck. I couldn't get away from the bottle. I couldn't get myself on track. And now that I have, in a way, it's my obligation now as a warrior to my country and as a warrior to my brothers and sisters that fought alongside me to do everything we can to make sure that we stop this. You know, it's 22 a day right now committing suicide as far as American veterans, and we have to cut that out. So that's my goal and mission in life.
All right, now, John, let me ask you this, and again, this is very personal, the question I'm going to ask, but as far as PTSD is concerned, explain to us a little bit about what it is and how come it was never notified or noticed in years past, whether it was Vietnam or World War II. It never seemed to came into prominence like it has until the last decade. Why?
Well, you got to think of it, first of all, PTSD was talked about in the Vietnam era. They knew that this is what these guys were going through. It just wasn't made public. They were treated more as mental patients rather than somebody that was just dealing with these personal issues that came back from the war. I mean, there's moments where you can't control what happens, and literally everything slows down. It's like you're back in that again, and it affects everyone differently. It deals with everyone differently. So I think one of the things that's different about this generation, one, we have the internet, and we have the ability to actually speak out with what's happening to us. And there's a whole coalition of veterans right now fighting for this cause, and trying to bring out us as our generation, us as this warfighter generation, this next baby boom that came out. We have the opportunity to take it public, and that's why I'm so entrenched in this, because I know that my music has the ability to make it mainstream. It's great music. I have a phenomenal producer, so I know that we can take this just another step public. When I'm accepting a Grammy in front of 10 million people, I get the opportunity to say, did you know 22 veterans a day commit suicide? So part of it is our ability to actually speak out about it publicly now, and the other part is it not being noticed as such a bad stigma anymore, to have these mental health issues.
Hey, John, let me ask you this question then, and I'm very naive about some of this, so my apologies. But what can we do with the increased funding and helping you with the sale of your record and your CDs, etc.? What can we do to better help these people with PTSD? I mean, are there not enough doctors? Are there not enough treatment centers? What can we do to help our veterans?
Well, what's happening now and what's actually, I've seen it personally now with people calling me with problems, which is amazing. I have veterans reaching out to me asking for my help. And what's available now, as much slack as the VA gets, you can actually now reach out to your VA and get these services. It's not easy to go through the whole jumping through the hoops. But they are there now. They didn't exist when I got out, not in the fashion that they do today. And the problem is these dudes that got out with me 10 years ago, they were mildly off the path. Well, you fast forward 10 years later when you've been walking down the wrong path, you're way off where you should be. With that being said, the first thing is awareness. And even the people that are going through it, the men and women that are dealing with it, don't necessarily know that there's somewhere to go. Mm-hmm. And it's the more noise we make, the more awareness we make, the more public we make it, the more veterans know that there's others of us out there going through the same thing. They're more likely to relate and understand and maybe want to get help. Because you're in a corner. You're backed into a corner. And the last thing you want to hear is someone else tell you, yeah, bro, I've dealt with it, but, you know, I got through it. You should be able to as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's not what it's about. You know, you have to actually be able to combat it. The sales of my music are going to it, but what's more important than that is the fact that we are taking it public.
You know, John, it must infuriate you, I know it does me, to think that our government is not doing more for our veterans, whether it's helping them find jobs, whether it's helping them get reestablished when they come home. I mean, you will not find a better friend for our veterans than what you will find on this program, because I honestly think you have put everything on the line, and you come home, and I'm not pointing the finger at any one administration or any one political person, but I'm saying I don't think we do nearly enough for our vets. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct. And we haven't been able to make enough noise to become the squeaky wheel. And that's what my job is. That's what all these other veterans out there that have these incredible companies and are doing all these amazing things to bring this awareness, that's what we're here for. And on shows like your own, let's shake the tree. You know, let's shake the tree and get people's attention and get them wanting to stand up. I mean, the reality is I can't get up in the morning and go to Starbucks and get my coffee and drive to work calmly without any issues, without these servicemen and women, without them being there. Regardless of what war we're fighting, regardless of what is going on, they're there for our freedom and our safety.
Absolutely.
And it gets overlooked. You know, people are too worried about what's going on Us Weekly or what the Kardashians are doing this week.
John, I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. I'm going to tell my engineer, Wheels, we need to turn him up a little bit when he's speaking, if you could, please. It's not coming through my feed line very well. Thank you. You know, John, let me ask you this in regards to suicide. It's a growing problem in our society today with our younger people and folks in general in the business world, and especially our vets. What are some of the warning signs that we can look for and possibly lend help and a helping hand? Tell me that.
Well, you know, the real problem is there isn't very many warning signs publicly. We're masters of keeping it hidden. So unfortunately, we don't give you a lot of signs. You know, if somebody's drinking too much or they've turned to substance abuse, then you know for sure that they're going down that wrong route. And the substance abuse isn't necessarily because of their, you know, dealings of, it's because they're going through this, you know, and it's definitely something to look for. As I suspected would happen, sir, I have a call. I have to leave.
Oh, my goodness. I heard it in the background. John, I'm going to do the best I can to promote.
everybody swing by Facebook.com/John Preston Music. Check out our music. Go to iTunes, buy the album, and each album is supporting a good cause. Go watch our new video Day Tonight. It's phenomenal and is in memory of an amazing Marine that was fighting for our country and died in Afghanistan, Charles Strong. His wife Taylor actually plays herself in the video. So very strong, very powerful stuff, and I hope we get a chance to talk again. I apologize for having to run.
No, John Preston, God bless you. Be safe, my friend. Thank you so much. And thank you, sir. He's a firefighter, and you just heard the bell ring in the background. And that's an ominous sound that I've heard many, many times when I'm talking to my son up in Boise. And you hear that. In his case, it's a buzzer, and you know they got to go. They got to go, and they've got to respond right away. And this gentleman that I was talking to, John Preston, is a Marine veteran, firefighter, husband, father, singer-songwriter, and he was a highly decorated Marine during his first tour of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he came home and he has his own story of fighting PTSD, and now he's going to try to help others with his album. He's got a brand new single out called Day to Night, and what I'm going to do is try to get a hold of John again after this program, call him back on the cell phone number, and find out more about that and get the recording, and we'll play it on this program, and we'll have John back and discuss the writing and also the musicality of this song. And he's putting his money where his heart is, and he's helping his other veterans with PTSD. So I'll get a copy of this, and then we'll put it on the air and see what else we can do to help him. John Preston, Marine, veteran, and firefighter, and an all-around good guy. Appreciate that. We'll get him on the air. Okay, now it's time for the weather forecast. I can tell you what the weather forecast is right now. Rain, wet, my goodness, and it's brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Don't forget, the meat you take in there for processing is the meat that you're going to get back. That's right, very confident, and they really care. They guarantee everything that they sell and everything they process. From your trailer to the slaughter, cutting and wrapping into the freezer, you can rest assured you're getting your animal back to you. So please remember the telephone number, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for the very first week in November, and, well, it's going to be a wet one. Rain showers for today, going to be a little bit on the breezy side, high of 44. Tonight, expect a low of 35. Now, tomorrow, just be careful out there, especially if you're on the roadways. Rain and snow showers mixed create very, very slick conditions. High of 37 with an overnight low of 28. Overcast for Wednesday, high of 38 with an overnight low of 24. Then for Thursday, we might be able to see some sunshine with a high of 43. Yesterday's high was 46, and tonight's sunset's going to be at 5:26. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Very nice, folks. All right, now it's your turn. Come on, I want somebody to give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle. I do have a quick reminder. Come on, somebody give me a call. We'll talk about anything you want for a couple of minutes. Thank you, caller. God bless you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Zeb, the other day, talking about refugees, the other day, my wife and I were driving, and she said, "Did you know that Sweden is the new rape capital of the world?" And she began to explain and said to me that the Muslim men are raping who and whatever they feel like, and it isn't necessarily just women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do, and
it's not necessarily of age either. And what's happening is, in some cases, they're gang raping these poor people and these children. And then the courts are afraid of retaliation, so they're I'm telling you, Zeb, they're taking over Europe.
Why are
And
we...
we're importing them in here.
I know, but why are we so bent on cultural diversity when we have no controls over what that cultural diversity may mean for our laws, for our society, and for our well-being? And I will stand behind everything I've said on this program. I will not back up. I will not apologize. I am not in favor of the vetting process being very limited on the refugees that are coming in. We don't know who they are or what they represent. The College of Southern Idaho and the Times-News is hell-bent that they're going to go forward on this, and those that are against their program are bigots and hate-mongers. And I'm telling you something, Randy, I am not going to let this issue be swept under the rug.
Well, what's so amazing about the College of Southern Idaho and certain people, whether or not a superintendent of Twin Falls Schools or KMBT TV, they all seem to be, for some reason, perpetuating this. And you see, again, these horror stories that these individual accounts of horror stories in Europe and elsewhere in this country that we never hear about illustrate how terrible this problem really is. But you see, again, the media, they're all in cahoots, the mainstream, and they're covering it up to get what they want. In the end, they will have created a Frankenstein monster, and then you see, when is it too late?
Well, let me ask you this. You probably read in the paper, and I'm going to mention her name because she's running for public office, and quite frankly, I'm going to do all I can to see that she doesn't win. And that's Deborah Silver. She wants to run against Lee Hyder for state senator, and she's come out and made her quotations in the paper the other day that, quite frankly, she thought those that were opponents to the refugee center should be basically stymied and stopped and their voices not heard. And quite frankly, again, Randy, I think all the more reason for us to question what's going on with the refugee program. And don't give me this stuff about cultural diversity and everything else. Right now, these people that are coming into the United States are not thoroughly vetted. We do not know who they are. Most of them are young men between the ages of 18 and 31. And I want to have answers before we stick our neck out and change our entire community.
This is the thing we got to understand about the Obama administration State Department. They are slanted in a way that is not American. They are not concerned about the American citizens. They are concerned about an agenda. And but you see, again, here we are. You and I are just uninformed or redneck or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're more informed than so many others. But you see, useful idiots, in the end, will be rounded up just like the rest of us.
Well, look at the situation, Randy. Randy, just a minute. I'm going to have to run in a minute, but I just want you to respond to this. Look at what's going on in Houston, Texas tomorrow, and decency is against evil in the vote tomorrow. The decency being parents and people that are concerned that our society is absolutely letting filth go into the schools and into businesses to where the gays, lesbians, and transgenders can use any facility they want. Men can use a girls' washroom and or locker room and vice versa. Randy, 10 years ago that would never have been heard of, and now we're having to vote on decency in this country. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, this is a situation in some of these cases where this is occurring, where these men are allowed to go into female restrooms. They are having problem with voyeurism.
Yep.
And see, this is it's just so far out of American normalness. And you see, when do we, you and I are, and so many others are screaming loud, but again, we have got to gather some help.
Absolutely. Randy, I always appreciate your call and your viewpoints, and I know you're very family-oriented. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I got to get some bills paid. Thank you, sir.
See ya.
All right, God bless you. You know, I am really going to follow that vote down in Houston tomorrow because it is very much applicable as to what the Twin Falls School Board has already advocated. And they've let Satan into their school system as far as I'm concerned. We're going to talk more about that in the days ahead. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Question is, are you traction ready? Are you ready for the slippery roads? Are you ready for the icy conditions? Are you ready for the snow on the roads? Well, you'd better be ready, and your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers have all the tires you need to get ready. That's right. You stop in and talk to them today. Don't be the last-minute person, and all of a sudden you go skidding in there and say, please help me. Go in and talk to them right now today. They've got all your traction tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got all the chains. They've got all the batteries. And believe me, when I say batteries, I mean you better go out and have your battery checked, and maybe it's not going to turn that engine over on those cold mornings. Well, they've got the best of batteries available for you, along with the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts. All of this and much, much more at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers: Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You get a hold of them today. Okay? Wet day. Man, I had aspirations and hopes of going out into the arena this afternoon and getting a chance to work out a little bit, not only me, but my brand new horse. And unless I can put water wings on him and a snorkel, I don't think we're going to be able to use that arena for at least a couple of days, and that's going to take a lot of sunshine. Rain is in the forecast for the next couple of days and much cooler temperatures, so be careful out there. It is November 2nd, and we're only 25 days away from Thanksgiving, for heaven's sakes. But tomorrow, a big day, Election Day, and I want to urge you all, please don't make a mockery out of our great American system. Go to the polls and vote. Pick the person that you want to represent you in the various positions, but please go to the polls and vote tomorrow. It is a gift to America and all of its citizens, the right to go vote. Please take care of that tomorrow. On the show tomorrow, we're expecting attorney Todd Gaziano, and he's going to be talking about the Clean Power Plan, which is going to be putting a lot of jobs at risk in our society if Obama gets his way. Also, Frosty Woldridge, Dr. History, and I'm going to be trying to get Kyle Olson, a dear friend of mine with EAGnews.org, and he is the overseer of what's going on in education across the United States. Going to try to get him on at 10:30 tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for that. We are blessed on this show to have the best of listeners and the best of sponsors. And you're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call them today at 312-0957. Until tomorrow morning at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch, right here on K-Bar 1230 AM and streaming live on the internet all over the world on ZebBell.com. Remember this, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks, Wheels.